we're going. I'm gonna step aside and let Miss Sarah start our video. This is Miss Sarah's first time on Facebook Live, everybody. Big day.
Hi everyone, it's Miss Sarah, the camp director at the Woodcock Nature Center, and also Mr. Sam's with us.
Hello.
Waterfront director, and our campers call him Mr. Pond.
Dr. Pond.
Dr. Pond.
Yes.
Ooh, Dr. Pond. But we're really excited to be here. So we're doing a live today because it is really, really hot out. There was a National Weather Service heat advisory, so unfortunately it's unsafe for us to be outside in masks extended times throughout the day. But we're here, and we have some animals to show you guys, and we have some plants that we're gonna ID, and we also have some nature trivia that we're gonna do to test your knowledge at the end. But I'm gonna start with one of our animals that we actually recently found, and our campers found it out in our pond. So right now Mr. Sam and I are right by the pond at the Nature Center, and I'm gonna take this guy out, and some of you might recognize him. Oh. Okay, here we go. This is a baby painted turtle, and we think he's about 1 year old. We think he hatched last summer, and our campers found him on the pond. So we go canoeing at camp, and our campers catch frogs and turtles, and most of the animals we release back into the wild, but we held on to this little baby who our campers have named him Flopper, and I'll try and show you why. Because you can see his front 2 legs, but he's missing, see if I can get it to focus. Oh, that might be more blurry. But you can see right here, he's missing a back foot. He's got 1 back foot, and this one's gone. And from looking at it, it looks like it was scarred. So he was not born that way, but something came along. Oh, there you can see, there's no foot. There's no flipper. Something came along and chomped his back leg off. So we're holding on to him just for a little bit to observe him, and then we will probably release him back into the pond so he can live his life. We do have another turtle here at the Nature Center. Some of you might know Van Gogh. She also is missing a leg. So that's Chomper, or Flopper. I think there's some controversy of what to name him, Chomper or Flopper. And so painted turtles are one of the most common turtles here in Connecticut. They're one of the first turtles that wake up from hibernation and come out. So even at the end of the winter, you can see them sunning themselves in lakes and ponds. And a lot of people think that they mostly eat fish, but they really only eat fish that are already dead. They'll scavenge on fish, but mostly they eat aquatic insects and plants, algae, and vegetation. So this is our baby painted turtle. Isn't he beautiful? I can try to show you his beautiful orange markings there. He's not really in focus. Oh, opened his mouth for you guys. All right, and Mr. Sam, oh, hi Arden, hi Macy. Mr. Sam has another animal, so I'm gonna step off the screen and he's gonna come join you guys.
All right. Also, hello to Arden and Macy. I have a crowd favorite here at the Nature Center. She is new with us. Miss Jen picked her up in February. This is Indira, and she is a Colombian red-tailed boa. And she's pretty small right now because she's pretty young, but she's going to grow up to be about 6 to 8 feet. So if you come back in a few years, you'll see me holding her out like this. But yeah, so we got her in February, and right off the bat we were like, okay, so we need to give her a moment to just kind of chill out and adjust to the environment here and stuff like that. And and the quarantine worked pretty well for that. She got a nice break and was able to relax into her new setting here at Woodcock. And we did some light handling. Allegra did a lot of good work with her, and she's pretty good at being handled. She's pretty chill. So Colombian red-tailed boas, you can tell by their name, they live near and around the country of Colombia. So northern South America into Central America, and potentially into the southern US as well, but not too much. And when they're young, they live in the trees and they like to hang on, so she probably thinks I'm a nice tree right now. But as they get older, they stay more to the ground, and they'll live in fallen logs or animal holes, things like that. And they eat rodents, different like mice species. They'll eat small birds. As they get bigger, apparently, they can even eat pigs and monkeys. So what's interesting about snakes is that what's important when figuring out what to eat for them, you just have to make sure that it's not bigger than the largest part of their body. It doesn't matter if their food item is bigger than their head, because they can open their mouth wider than their head. They can actually detach their jaw from like right here and open up nice and wide. I can't think of a human equivalent to that. It's like us eating a whole cheeseburger at once, or two. Which is wild, I think. It's pretty cool. And they don't need to chew their food. They swallow it whole. It's pretty interesting to watch, I think. But yeah, so in captivity, they can live up to about 40 years, 30, 40 years. And one of the ecological benefits, which I think is awesome about these guys, is that since they're eating rodents, they're eating the animals that could be carriers of diseases. So it helps to reduce the amount of disease that's in their habitat. So they play a very important role. And I got a question recently about why, I'll show you guys here. If you can see, it's hard to tell when she's all coiled up. This is the front of her body, and then this is the back. And the back has a nice deeper red color to it. And I had some kids ask me why. And I don't know for sure why, but in some quick research that I did on it, it's the hypothesis is that it's used for luring prey. They kind of swing it around, and the prey thinks it's something for them to eat, and then the snake can trick them and catch their food that way. And another little fun fact, I hope you guys can see this. She has a mustache right above her snoot. And if you see her sticking her tongue out, which she's not doing right now, come on, stick your tongue out. That is how they smell. They stick their tongue out, and then they put it up into these two little holes called the Jacobson's organ, and that's how they smell their environment. But I guess there's nothing interesting to smell right now. All right. And that is Indira. I see she's getting a lot of reactions there, so lots of love for Indira. I'm gonna put her back now, and we'll move on to the next thing.
Okay, so I have some animal skulls, and I'm gonna hold them up and see if anyone can guess what animal they came from. So it's guess that skull. And the first one is pretty small. Okay, here we go. So I'll show you how small it is to my head. Okay, and so you guys think about what animal this could have come from. So this animal has sharp teeth, so these canines, for tearing through things. But it also has a lot of flat molars, these back teeth, for chewing vegetation and plants. So this animal eats both meat and plants. It's an omnivore. It's got a long, narrow head. Give a hint about this animal is that it has a mask on its face. Let's see, Brandy says fox or dog. Good guess. It does look similar to a fox or dog. It is not a fox or a dog. But it does look similar. It's a little smaller. And sometimes these animals will get into your trash can. They're very sneaky. They have great hands and fingers. Anyone have a guess? We'll give it a minute. This is a raccoon skull. So raccoons can eat basically anything. They're scavengers, they're opportunistic, so they eat other animals, they'll eat frogs, they'll eat snakes, they'll eat the eggs of other animals, but they also will eat berries and mushrooms and all sorts of things. So that is a raccoon skull. It's sometimes interesting to see the skulls of animals because they look so different than the animal itself once all the muscle and the fur is on the animal. So that's a raccoon skull. I have one more. This one's a bigger one, okay? I love this one. Here we go. And again, I'll show you how big it is to my face.
It's a bigger raccoon.
It is not a giant raccoon, although it does have similarities to the raccoon skull. So, again, it has canines for tearing through meat. Look how big those teeth are compared to my face. And it also has those flat molars for eating plant matter. This one, its eyes are on the front of its head. Its points front, so that usually means it's a predator. Prey animals usually have eyes on the side of their head so they can see all around and they can see the predators coming. And predators are usually looking directly in front to catch and run after their prey. So this is quite a large animal. It does live here in Connecticut. And I'm going to give you guys a minute to guess before I give you another hint. But quite a large skull.
We've been seeing a lot more of them too recently.
Yeah, Sam just said we've been seeing a lot more of them in our area as well.
Was that your next hint?
That could be our hint. This animal also has a great sense of smell. This would be its nasal cavity. And they do like to knock down bird feeders. It's not a giant squirrel.
Did someone say that?
No. Okay, not a fox. Some of us are guessing foxy and not a fox. Fox does have a similar structure, but this skull is very, very large. It's about the size of my head, if not bigger. This is a black bear skull. So this one sometimes tricks people because they think black bears their skulls would be much, much larger. But this is a black bear skull. And again, think of all the muscle and the fur on top of that. That would make their face look larger. And black bears are also omnivores. So one of the biggest part of their diet, at least around here in residential areas, is bird feeders. They love to just eat all the bird seed. They'll knock a bird feeder down and scarf it all down. But also berries and acorns are a big part of their diet. They don't eat other animals as often. They do scavenge dead bodies of other animals. So that is our black bear skull. And if anyone has questions about any of these animals, about our raccoon skull, about a black bear, please put your questions in the comments. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little walk with Mr. Sam around to another portion of our pond, and we're going to take a look at some plants and how they can help us.
Oh yeah, I like seeing all this participation here, all the comments. It's really fun. All right, you good, Miss Sarah? I'm gonna leave you.
Yep.
Off to venture in the woods, sort of. So I want to talk about two plants that, well, one plant that in particular that we get a lot of questions about here at the Nature Center. It's a big fear at this time of year in nature. People are most worried about things like ticks and poison ivy. And so I want to show you guys how to identify poison ivy, but I'm also going to show you a plant that helps to relieve the itchiness of poison ivy. And if you already know these plants, that's great, and you can share them with your friends because, I mean, nobody wants to be itchy all day. But if you're aware of them, but maybe you're not able to identify them, well then pay attention. So I'm going to flip the camera here. In this little section here, we have some poison ivy growing. And poison ivy, the main characteristic is that it grows in sections of 3 leaves. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. And the leaves are sharply ridged on one side. Well, one or both actually. But the ridges are pretty jagged. That's how you can tell. Because sometimes you'll find other plants that are 3 leaves like that, but if you notice this jaggedness on the side, that's the other defining characteristic. So look for leaves of 3 and the jagged sides. When it's first starting to grow in the spring, that's when it's red and green and shiny. But later on in the season, we're getting towards August now. It loses that shininess and it loses the red color. So a lot of people mistake it or don't even notice it because they have a different idea in their head. But also, another place you can find it, let's see if I can get this up here, is climbing on trees. So this is a red maple tree, I believe, and poison ivy is a vine, so it can't grow its own trunks. So it climbs up branches like this. And again, you can see the sections of 3 leaves and the jagged sides. At least I hope you can. So that's poison ivy. And the next plant I'm going to show you is called jewelweed. Jewelweed, it's called jewelweed because with the morning dew, it develops little water droplets on it. And it makes it look like jewels, and it's very pretty. It also has a very pretty orange flower that is about to come out. They come out in August. And that flower is filled with nectar and attracts hummingbirds. So another reason why I love this plant. But I'm going to show you, this is a very small one right here. So this also has jagged sides, but it has a lot of jagged sides to it. And normally it grows in large groups. This one is by itself, which is interesting. I'll show you actually, there's another section over here. All of this is jewelweed. Normally growing in large groups, and jewelweed is almost always found near water. So I'm actually standing on the dock now, and that's the pond. So it really loves this moist, shaded environment. We have some down by the waterfall as well. Now, if you get anything on you that makes you itchy, so poison ivy or mosquito bite, all you have to do is take a leaf and crush it up a lot, like you'll feel the juices. Just like this. You'll feel those juices, and you rub those juices directly where it itches, and I kid you not, it's like seconds. It might be max 10 seconds, and you start to feel relief. And it doesn't last long, but at least it's something. It lasts a few minutes. You could always come back and get another leaf and reapply, and that's fine. We have the kids do that sometimes, and it's so fun to watch you guys at summer camp, like, try this out, and just the look of relief that you guys have when you try it is fun to watch. So those are 2 plants that I think you should be aware of when you're out in nature. And now we'll wrap this up with a little bit of nature trivia. I got 3 questions for you guys. This is kind of high. It's all right, it'll force me to stand up or sit up. All right, I hope you all are ready for some nature trivia here. We'll get some whizzes. All right, we'll start with this one. And the question is, how many poisonous snakes are there in Connecticut? So, some snakes can be toxic, some snakes, the bites can be toxic, and some are not. We have a lot of snakes in Connecticut. We have a bunch of different species. I believe it's like 12, right? It's around that number. And most, if you get bit, it just hurts, but nothing more than that. But there are some that you need to watch out for. So any guesses on the number of poisonous snakes? Sarah just fact-checked me. It's 14. Thank you. Donna says 5. Good guess. If you're thinking 5, though, you're going to be a little bit more scared than you need to be. So the answer is actually 0 poisonous snakes. And the reason for that is because of the terminology that I'm using.
Trick question.
It was a bit of a trick question. And any nature nerds were probably angry with me for a little while. We have 0 poisonous snakes because poisonous means it is either absorbed or ingested. And so like a mushroom can be poisonous, salamanders can be poisonous, frogs, because it's absorbing into your skin or you're eating it and digesting that toxin. Snakes are what's called venomous, and venomous is when they bite you and eject their toxin that way. Did I get you, Lenore? She said, tricky, tricky. Venom is when they bite you and the toxin is injected into you. So it's, again, they're both toxic. It's just a terminology thing of how the toxin enters your body. And to answer the question of how many venomous snakes there are in Connecticut, there are 2, the timber rattlesnake and the copperhead. It's just like, it was just gone for a second in my head. The copperhead, thank you. We don't have too many rattlesnakes in Connecticut, and even the copperheads aren't too popular. There's the northern water snake is most commonly mistook for the copperhead. Luckily, the northern water snake is not venomous. Macy said, no fair. Sorry, Macy. But now you know. Now you know. All right, let's do another one here. I got 2 more. This one's an interesting fact. How many years old does an oak tree need to be before it starts to make acorns? So I'll give you a hint, and you can give it in like increment of 10 years. So like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1,540.
This is our tough question.
This is the tough question. I'll give you another hint. It's less than 100. I don't know if that helps. So oak trees are super important for the environment. They're home to, and they benefit about 300 species of animals and plants, other forms of life. And they drop their acorns, and the acorns are super important for the environment as well. Lots of things eat them, including blue jays and squirrels. And those blue jays and squirrels bury those acorns and forget about them. Not all of them, but forget about a lot of them. And those ones grow into nice, beautiful oak trees. They are very important. And also, any gluten-free people out there, you can make acorns into acorn flour. So you can look up that recipe. I've been trying to do it myself, but
Acorn pancakes.
or acorn. Yeah, you can use the acorn flour to make acorn pancakes, as Miss Sarah said. I tried to do it one time, and I accidentally burnt them, but that's a different story. So the answer, some of you put up guesses. Donna said 30, and Brandy said 80. So the answer is 30 to start. So they start making their acorns at 30 years old. And the peak time, the peak age of when they're making the most acorns is 50 to 80. So Brandy, you got the 80 there. For that, that's when they're making like the most acorns. So very good. And last one. What is the only marsupial in Connecticut? A marsupial is a mammal with a pouch, like a kangaroo. But we don't got any roos here. That's my poor Australian accent. Wyatt? Oh, did Wyatt say 80? I'm sorry. Wyatt, give Wyatt credit for his 80. I don't know, I can't think of any fun fact to... Miss Sarah loves this animal. This animal is very, very good for eating ticks. They have a tail that kind of looks like a rat tail. They also have really funky thumbs. I forget which foot it is. Is it the front? I think it's the back foot. It's either the front or the back feet, I'm forgetting. But if you look at the footprint, the thumb like comes back behind, almost like a bird footprint. So Donna says the girls are saying possum. And Allegra knows, but she's not going to say it. I'll say it. The answer is possum.
Yay.
Very good, Arden and Macy. You got it right. They are very cute. Love to see them. If you see a possum around, it means that your tick numbers are going down. So like I said before, that's another worry that people have. So we like possums. Yeah. All right. Do you want to do some final statements, or do you want me to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up. You can turn for me.
All right. I'm going to turn so that you can see Miss Sarah as well. So we're going to wrap up this video right now. Say goodbye. Thank you everyone for participating. This was awesome to see all the comments and stuff. It's lots of fun doing these Facebook Live videos. I missed it.
We're doing another one at 1 p.m. today.
Yes.
With different animals and different nature trivia. It's going to be completely different than this one. And we are very excited to see all of our campers back tomorrow.
Yes, when it's less melty hot.
Yes.
All right.
So we want to tell everyone to stay cool today, stay safe,
Drink lots of water.
and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.